Trail cameras, also known as game cameras, are outdoor surveillance cameras designed to capture photos or videos of wildlife or other outdoor activities. They are typically used by hunters, wildlife enthusiasts, and researchers to monitor wildlife populations, track animal behavior, and study the habits of various animals. Trail cameras are equipped with a memory card to store the photos and videos they capture. The memory cards can be removed and replaced to view or transfer the images to a computer or other device. They are an excellent tool for studying wildlife and gaining insights into their behavior and habitat. Every so often, though, a trail camera captures something mysterious. This happened just recently when a trail camera captured a strange-looking creature standing next to a bear. We talked with the individual who posted the photograph who wishes to stay anonymous, and they said that the image was taken in northern Utah. They explained that they couldn't figure out what the creature was, and so posted it to various pages in order to try and get an answer. All this did was cause more confusion, as people couldn't work out what it was. One user said the following: "Many trail camera photographs are hard to study, as the object in question can sometimes be at a weird angle, and this makes it hard to work out the size of the creature. However, in this image we can clearly see that it's standing next to a bear and that it measures over twice the size of it. It's really hard to figure out what type of creature this could be." End quote. Others carried on and said that due to its size and shape, it matches the overall description of a large, hairy humanoid, also pointing out that Utah has been a hotspot for these creatures, with hikers and outdoorsmen who've ventured out into the wilderness in and around Utah, saying that they've had several run-ins with these creatures. The user who posted the photograph said that they were part of a team that investigated Bigfoot sightings, and that throughout the years, the team got sent various images and videos of mysterious creatures, but noted that the majority of them could be explained. They said that this was one of the only ones that they struggled to explain. They further added that they were nervous to post the photograph as they didn't want to be ridiculed or have people think they were trying to prove the existence of Bigfoot. The poster said they just generally have no idea what this is and wanted to see if other people could explain it. Interestingly, for hundreds of years, mysterious humanoid creatures have been encountered across the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. One interesting story is that of the original Murphysboro mud monster sighting. Considered to be one of the most peculiar sightings ever reported, the Murphysboro mud monster was a humanoid creature that was mass-sighted and would eventually lead the police of the small town of Murphysboro to conduct an official investigation into the beast to bring about some order to their small town. On the 25th of June, back in 1973, within the small town of Murphysboro, Illinois, a young couple would claim to come face-to-face with a massive bipedal humanoid creature, later referred to as the Murphysboro mud monster. According to the young couple, their encounter happened sometime around midnight while they had been parked at the side of a river. The couple, a young man and young woman by the names of Randy Needham and Judy Johnson, claimed that they decided to stop their car at the end of 23rd Street, located in Riverside Park, in an area that gave them a clear view of the surface of the big muddy river. The reason for their late-night isolation was later explained by the couple as being a necessary precaution, as Judy's father had disapproved of the two dating, and so were unable to find a more public location to hang out. Although the exact time of the sighting is unknown, it's believed that the event occurred sometime between 12 to 1 in the morning, as the couple were listening to the radio and engaged in intimate action. As Judy Johnson and Randy Needham were in the middle of their interaction, the couple claimed to have heard what they described as a piercing roar, later detailed by Randy Needham as sounding somewhat similar to an eagle shrieking into a feedback microphone. The source of the sound appeared to have emanated from a nearby brush that rested only a few yards away from the vehicle near the side of the big muddy river. Scared that a large, dangerous wild animal was nearby, Randy Needham shut off the car radio while he and Judy Johnson glanced around the immediate area, looking for any signs of a creature. A few seconds later, the couple claimed that another loud shriek had been heard that was slightly similar to the first, and watched as the brushwood in front of their vehicle began to sway dramatically. Hoping to scare away the creature or to catch a better glimpse of it, Randy Needham immediately started his car and turned on the headlights. Within seconds, the creature exited from the brushwood and began rushing towards their vehicle. The couple would later describe the creature as having been a large bipedal ape-like creature that they would claim looked like an oversized gorilla. It walked on two legs and was estimated from a sitting position to have stood around 8 feet tall, with matted white hair and with spots of mud covering different sections of its body. As the creature walked closer to the vehicle, the couple claimed they could smell the scent of a foul, skunk-like odor. Fearing for their lives, Randy Needham immediately reversed his vehicle and drove out of the area, claiming that they narrowly escaped the monster. Once the couple made it back into the downtown area of Murphysboro, Illinois, they entered into a heated debate on whether or not they should report the sighting to the local police. Judy Johnson at first refused to file a witness report, believing that it would lead to issues with her father, but was convinced by Randy Needham, who believed that the monster would soon attack other eyewitnesses. It would be at around 2 a.m. that the couple would decide to drive down to the Murphysboro police station and report their sighting. Once Randy Needham and Judy Johnson arrived at the police station together, the couple immediately began filing a report with the former patrolman of the Murphysboro police force, a man by the name of Ron Manwaring, who worked as a police chief for over several decades. According to Officer Ron Manwaring, the sighting had been described as an unknown creature sighting, with the beast having been compared to an oversized gorilla estimated to have been around 8 feet tall, with matted white hair that was streaked with mud. Although the officers were hesitant to believe the claims of the two young adults, they began to grow increasingly interested when they discovered that the couple was scared of both public ridicule and Judy's father finding out about their indiscretions. Additional reports of the Murphysboro mud monster would be made by several police officers who were tasked with investigating the original sightings report of Randy Needham and Judy Johnson. Believing that Randy Needham and Judy Johnson were not playing a prank and had nothing to gain from the witness claims, the Murphysboro Police Department would send 2 officers to investigate the claims further. The 2 responding officers, Merrill Lindsay and Jimmy Nash, were sent to the location of the sighting within minutes and arrived at the area of the supposed boat ramp in Riverside Park. Within a few minutes of investigating, Officer Jimmy Nash found a set of peculiar tracks that he described as being approximately 10 to 12 inches long and roughly 3 inches wide, following in a long line down the riverbank side pressed deep into the mud. However, before Officer Nash could investigate the tracks further, he would then report that he and his partner heard what they would later detail was a horrifyingly shrill screech emanating from close by. Believing that the creature was hiding in some nearby brush, waiting to attack, Officer Nash attempted to pull out his revolver, but dropped it in a panic and ran back to his police cruiser and left the scene of the sighting. When questioned about the sound, Nash claimed that the sound was the most hideous sound he had ever heard and had originated at an estimated distance of about 300 feet away from them. He said the following: "The most incredible shriek I've ever heard. It was in those bushes. It was no bobcat or screech owl. We hightailed it out of there." End quote. Officer Jimmy Nash and Officer Merrill Lindsay would return to the Murphysboro police station, hoping to gather additional officers for backup before returning to the site. It would be at around this time that the officers would report the screech and their encounter with the unknown creature, sparking serious interest from the local law enforcement. At around 2 a.m. on the 26th of June, Officers Jimmy Nash and Merrill Lindsay would return to the area of their encounter alongside Officer Bob Scott and the original eyewitness Randy Needham. The 4 would soon discover several more tracks located near the muddy banks of the river, with impressions that appeared to originate from within the water and exit back into the water. Officer Merrill Lindsay would return to her patrol car to retrieve a camera for documenting the evidence, and the 3 others would stay in the area of the sighting, following the tracks down the riverbank. It was at around this time that the 3 men claimed to hear splashing in the river that sounded like a large creature walking in knee-deep water. Although they were unable to see anything in the water, the men would continue their search until they heard the same horrible scream that Officer Nash had reported earlier in the morning. The sudden scream caused the 3 men to run back to a patrol car, where they took the time to regain their composure and once again begin their search for the creature. For the next several hours, the men would claim to hear the same eerie splashing sound they believed to have been the large bipedal creature walking through the water, but would discover nothing. Their search would continue through the early morning until the sun rose. At around 7 a.m, the group would end their search, believing that the monster had disappeared. On the 26th of June, roughly 14 hours since the end of the reported sightings of the Murphysboro mud monster from the Murphysboro Police Department, a 5-year-old boy by the name of Christian Barrel would claim to witness a monster with a similar description at around 10:30 in the evening. The story was so compelling and considered substantial evidence of a Sasquatch-like creature roaming the American countryside that the story would eventually be picked up by the New York Times. The sudden popularity in the town, coupled with the momentary fame of the eyewitnesses, would lead to the Murphysboro mud monster legends becoming a solidified piece of history for the town, and would lead to the end of the hunting parties for the creature, as the residents considered the monster to be a symbolic mascot to be adored. This mysterious photograph was just shared by Apes on Reddit. It was taken at the London Thames by the Naval College at 6 in the evening on the 27th of July. Oddly enough, this isn't the first time that something strange has been spotted moving around in the Thames. The River Thames, a historic waterway flowing through the heart of London, has been a subject of fascination and intrigue for centuries. Among the countless stories and tales associated with it, one of the most enduring is that of the River Thames monster, often referred to as the Thames serpent. The story of the River Thames monster dates back to the 19th century, with accounts of an unidentified creature residing in the murky waters of the Thames. These narratives often depict a serpentine creature, usually large in size, with a long, slender body akin to an elongated eel or snake. The first recorded sighting was in 1873, when a man named William Cottrey claimed to have seen an enormous creature near the Isle of Dogs. The description was vivid, a creature with a rounded head, large eyes, and an elongated body that rose 2 meters above the water. Over the years, several other sightings have contributed to the monster's legend. In 2016, a video surfaced online showing a large, dark object moving through the water near the O2 Arena. The video, which quickly garnered millions of views, sparked renewed interest and speculation about the creature's existence. Yet, what could explain these sightings? One theory proposes that the creature might be a large species of eel. The European conger eel, for instance, can grow up to 3 meters long and is native to the Thames. Misidentification, especially of unusually large specimens, could potentially explain some of these sightings. Other suggestions have included an out-of-place marine mammal, such as a seal or dolphin, which have been known to occasionally visit the Thames. Their movements and behavior, when observed partially submerged or from a distance, might be mistaken for something more exotic or monstrous. Yet another hypothesis suggests that the sightings might be of large, non-native species inadvertently introduced into the Thames. This could range from released pets, like large snakes or monitor lizards, to marine species transported via ship ballast water. However, skepticism abounds in scientific circles about the Thames monster's existence. The lack of clear, irrefutable evidence, such as high-quality photographs, physical traces, or captured specimens, makes it hard to confirm the creature's identity definitively. Furthermore, the River Thames is one of the most studied and monitored waterways in the world, making it unlikely that a large, undiscovered species could remain hidden. Moreover, it's crucial to consider the role of psychology and social factors in monster sightings. Often people see what they expect or want to see, a phenomenon known as pareidolia. In the case of the River Thames monster, it's possible that ambiguous sightings get interpreted as more monstrous due to the existing folklore. Lastly, let's not underestimate the influence of the media and societal fascination with the unknown. Cryptids, creatures whose existence is disputed or unsubstantiated, hold a particular allure in popular culture. This fascination often results in heightened interest, media coverage, and consequently, more reported sightings. As of right now, while the River Thames monster captures the imagination, the evidence supporting its existence is scant and largely anecdotal. Whether it's a misidentified known animal, an out-of-place creature, or merely a figment of collective imagination, the tale of the Thames monster continues to add a touch of mystery to London's iconic river. For centuries, sailors across various cultures have told riveting tales of sea serpents, monstrous creatures reputed to dwell in the deep, unexplored expanses of the world's oceans. These narratives have been an integral part of maritime folklore, often contributing to sailors' wariness of uncharted territories. The description of sea serpents varies across cultures and eras, but typically portrays them as enormous, snake-like beasts with terrifying features. Some accounts describe them as having horse-like heads, manes, and large, menacing eyes. Others report multiple humps, vast coiling bodies, or even the presence of wings. Such tales have pervaded seafaring cultures for millennia. Ancient Greeks told tales of the Hydra and the Scylla, multi-headed sea monsters that terrorized sailors. Similarly, Norse mythology presents the Jormungandr, or the Midgard serpent, an enormous sea creature that encircles the world. However, historical accounts aren't merely restricted to mythology. As early as the 4th century BC, the Greek explorer Pytheas described seeing a sea monster during his voyage near modern-day Norway. By the 19th century, sea serpent sightings had become a widespread phenomenon, particularly in North Atlantic waters. Numerous shiplogs, newspaper reports, and personal journals of this era document these encounters, often in considerable detail. The Gloucester sea serpent, sighted repeatedly off the coast of Massachusetts in the early 19th century, was one such example, sparking considerable debate and intrigue. However, in spite of these abundant accounts, no tangible evidence of sea serpents' existence has ever been found. This lack of scientific proof has led researchers to propose various explanations for these sightings. Some theorize that many sightings could be cases of mistaken identity. Known marine animals like giant oarfish, sharks, or even whales might have been perceived as sea serpents. Psychology also plays a substantial role in these encounters. Furthermore, the psychological stress of long sea voyages, coupled with fear of the unknown, might contribute to such misinterpretations. Finally, the cultural context cannot be ignored. In many societies, maritime folklore serves as a warning system, cautioning sailors against venturing into dangerous, unexplored waters. Sea serpents often symbolize these unknown risks, serving as metaphoric embodiments of the sea's dangers. During the 19th century, newspapers frequently sensationalized sea serpent stories to boost sales. Even today, the allure of sea monster stories continues to captivate public interest, often leading to exaggerated or fabricated reports. The 19th century was a period of global exploration and scientific discovery, but it was also a time where the line between myth and reality was frequently blurred. One of the most captivating instances of this era was the HMS Daedalus's sea serpent sighting in 1848. It is remembered not only for the widespread interest it triggered, but also for the rigorous debate it sparked in the scientific community. On August 6, 1848, HMS Daedalus, a British Royal Navy ship, was en route from the Cape of Good Hope to St. Helena in the South Atlantic, when Captain Peter McCue and his crew reported an encounter with a giant sea serpent. The creature, according to McCue, was approximately 60 feet in length, with a further 30 feet of its body seen coiling beneath the water's surface. He described the creature as having no fins, a dark brown color with a yellowish-white underbelly, and a snake-like head held 4 feet above the water. McCue's detailed report, published in the Times of London, garnered immediate attention. The story was soon picked up by other newspapers and periodicals, igniting a flurry of interest, debate, and speculation across the country. Some readers were intrigued, some were skeptical, and others dismissed it as pure fantasy. The scientific community was similarly divided. Some naturalists supported McCue's account, citing it as evidence of large, unknown marine creatures yet to be discovered. Others, however, were skeptical. Sir Richard Owen, a prominent British biologist and a leading critic, suggested that the creature was nothing more than an elephant seal, or possibly a piece of floating seaweed misinterpreted by the ship's crew. The controversy escalated when McCue published a rebuttal defending his account. He emphasized the excellent visibility on the day of the sighting and the proximity of the creature, which, according to him, was close enough to rule out misidentification. Moreover, he asserted that he and his men were experienced sailors, implying their credibility and capability in distinguishing unfamiliar creatures from known marine animals. In the remote high desert of Utah, near a place known as Skinwalker Ranch, a man named James took a hike through the hills. James describes himself as a curious man. He'd heard the legends of Skinwalker Ranch, and the mystical creatures that supposedly roamed there. But he was skeptical, a man who believed only in what he could see or touch. That was until he found himself face to face with the inexplicable. It began like any other day, with the air biting at his face and the soft rustle of the desert wind. James was following his usual trail, one that skirted the infamous ranch, where countless stories of strange occurrences and sightings of otherworldly beings had originated. As he approached a ridge overlooking a dark valley, he suddenly felt a chill, unlike any he had ever experienced. The day had fallen silent, the wind ceased, and the very air seemed to thicken. Then he heard it, a faint whisper, like a raspy voice carried on the wind. He looked down into the valley and saw a shadowy figure moving on all fours, its eyes glowing with a sickly yellow light. James's heart pounded in his chest, but he couldn't look away. He watched as the creature stopped and raised its head, sniffing the air. Its body was lean and twisted, covered with what looked like mottled, rotting skin. Its face was a horrifying amalgamation of human and animal features. Suddenly it stood on its hind legs, its eyes fixed on James. He felt a cold terror grip him as those eyes bore into him, seeming to look right into his soul. It was as if the creature knew him, knew his thoughts, his doubts, his fears. Unable to move, unable to even breathe, James could only watch as the creature began to change. Its body twisted and contorted, its skin stretching and reshaping. The creature was now making its way towards him, its lips curling into a malicious grin. It spoke in a voice that was a distorted echo of James's own. With that, the creature turned and vanished into the darkness, leaving James frozen on the ridge, his mind reeling from what he had just witnessed. He stumbled back to his car and drove home in a daze. The image of that creature, that skinwalker, burned into his mind. He knew now that the legends were true, that there was a world beyond what he could see or touch, a world filled with mysteries and horrors beyond comprehension. Days turned into weeks, and James found himself drawn back to that ridge, night after night, as if the skinwalker had left a part of itself in him. He would stand there, looking into the valley, half hoping, half fearing to see it again, but the creature never returned, and slowly, the terror of that encounter began to fade, becoming a haunting memory. James was left with more questions than answers, a changed man who had peered into the unknown and had been forever marked by it. In the vast expanse of the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah, there lies a place shrouded in enigma and wonder, Skinwalker Ranch. Also known as Sherman Ranch, this 480-acre property has earned a reputation as one of the most paranormal hotspots in the world, captivating the imaginations of enthusiasts, researchers, and skeptics alike. Its eerie tales of strange phenomena have made it a subject of intense curiosity and debate, attracting countless investigations and becoming a focal point for those seeking to understand the mysteries of the unknown. The legend of Skinwalker Ranch dates back centuries to the native Ute tribe, who considered the land to be cursed. According to tribal lore, the area was inhabited by malevolent shapeshifters, known as skinwalkers, capable of transforming into animals and inflicting harm on humans. With such a sinister backdrop, it's no wonder that the ranch has become a magnet for all things paranormal. The modern era of intrigue surrounding Skinwalker Ranch began in the 1990s when it was purchased by a Las Vegas businessman named Robert Bigelow, founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science. Under Bigelow's ownership, the ranch became a focal point for extensive scientific research and investigations into a wide range of unexplained phenomena. Witnesses have reported a plethora of inexplicable events at the ranch, from mysterious unidentified aircraft sightings and encounters with otherworldly beings, to poltergeist-like activity, crop circles, and unexplained animal explorations. Among the most common sightings are strange lights in the sky, moving erratically and defying conventional explanations. Some have described seeing disc-shaped objects hovering in the distance, while others claim to have witnessed craft vanishing into thin air or submerging into the ground. These accounts have fueled speculation about mysterious visitations. One of the most compelling aspects of Skinwalker Ranch is the high number of witnesses who are credible and experienced, such as law enforcement officers, military personnel, and scientists. Their testimonies lend weight to the idea that something genuinely unusual may be occurring on the property. However, skeptics argue that many of these accounts can be attributed to natural phenomena, misidentifications, or exaggerations. The phenomenon at Skinwalker Ranch also extends beyond the skies, with numerous reports of eerie and unexplained occurrences on the ground. Witnesses have claimed to see shadowy figures lurking in the darkness, hearing disembodied voices, and experiencing feelings of being watched or followed. Some have described encounters with strange, wolf-like creatures, reinforcing the legends of the malevolent skinwalkers. Various scientific investigations have been conducted at the ranch to try and unravel its mysteries. The National Institute for Discovery Science, under Bigelow's direction, spent years collecting data, setting up surveillance equipment, and conducting studies to document and understand the strange occurrences. Critics argue that the lack of publicly available scientific data and the selective release of information have cast doubts on the legitimacy of the research conducted at Skinwalker Ranch. In 2016, the ownership of the ranch changed hands again, with real estate mogul Brandon Fugal acquiring the property. However, Fugal took a more secretive approach, limiting access to the site and keeping a tight lid on ongoing investigations. Brandon Fugal is not just the owner, but also the executive producer of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. This move has only intensified the aura of mystery surrounding the ranch. Deep within the heart of Navajo folklore lies a chilling tale that continues to send shivers down the spines of those who hear it: the legend of the Skinwalker. In the Native American tradition, the Skinwalker is a malevolent witch capable of shape-shifting into animals and harnessing dark powers to inflict harm on others. This haunting legend has endured for generations, serving as a cautionary tale and a source of fear and fascination. According to Navajo beliefs, the Skinwalker is a powerful practitioner of the witchery way, an ancient and forbidden form of magic. It is said that these individuals, usually witches or shamans who have chosen the path of darkness, can transform into any animal of their choosing. From wolves to owls, bears to coyotes, the Skinwalker can assume the form of the animal they desire, granting them supernatural abilities and enabling them to wreak havoc upon their victims. The methods used by a Skinwalker to achieve their shape-shifting abilities are deeply disturbing. Legend has it that they may don the pelts of the animals they wish to become, a process that requires a sinister ritual and unspeakable acts. By wearing the skin of the animal, they are believed to gain not only its physical form, but also its traits and attributes. This transformation allows them to move with stealth and strike fear into the hearts of those who dare cross their path. The powers of a Skinwalker extend beyond shape-shifting. They are believed to possess a range of dark abilities. Some tales describe them as being able to control the minds of their victims, causing them to fall ill or suffer from unexplainable ailments. Others speak of their ability to curse people, livestock or crops, bringing misfortune and despair to those who incur their wrath. The origins of the Skinwalker legend are rooted in a mix of cultural beliefs and historical events. The concept of shape-shifting is prevalent in numerous indigenous cultures around the world, often linked to spiritual practices and a deep connection to nature. For the Navajo, the concept of witchcraft and witches has been a part of their traditions for centuries, and stories of malevolent practitioners have been passed down through generations. The fear of encountering a Skinwalker has been deeply ingrained in Navajo culture, leading to various precautions and rituals to protect against their malevolence. Navajo people avoid discussing Skinwalkers at night, believing that speaking their name can attract their attention. Additionally, some believe that the power of the Skinwalker lies in their eyes, and meeting their gaze can be a dangerous and even deadly encounter. It is important to note that the Skinwalker legend is deeply respected within the Navajo community, and many individuals are reluctant to speak openly about it with outsiders. The legend is treated with reverence, and sharing stories about Skinwalkers is often considered taboo, reinforcing the belief in their potency and power. In recent years, the legend of the Skinwalker has transcended traditional storytelling and found its way into contemporary culture. The allure of the supernatural and the mysterious has led to various books, movies, and documentaries exploring the myth and its origins. However, it is crucial to approach the subject with sensitivity and respect, recognizing its cultural significance and understanding that the legend holds deep meaning for the Navajo people.
All across the world, there are reports of impossible-to-explain flying disc-shaped aircraft that demonstrate capabilities that violate all known laws of physics and appear to be technologically far too advanced to be explained in the modern day. In fact, there are more than 8,000 annual cases of sightings of such craft every single year, with thousands more going unreported for fear of ridicule. These sightings, however, are not the most extraordinary stories surrounding these impossible-to-explain craft, but rather the peculiar forms of life that seem to inhabit them. Often described as humanoid, the pilots of these craft vary from all shapes, sizes, species, and behaviors, from small 3-foot-tall little grey men to 10-foot-tall Sasquatch-like creatures to lanky 7-foot-tall insect-like creatures that look eerily similar to the praying mantis. Although UFO and alien enthusiasts have often been quick to proclaim that such sightings and encounters are evidence of extraterrestrial life visiting from faraway planets and solar systems, there appears to be a profound amount of evidence that has been growing over the past several decades, gathered by independent research efforts on a ranch out in the middle of nowhere, that has started to chip away at these claims and posited a far more terrifying theory. Perhaps these sightings, these craft, and these extraterrestrial sightings are not extraterrestrial at all, but a matter of the interdimensional. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over the mystery and evidence gathered at the Skinwalker Ranch and the possible interdimensional technology behind it that has led to mass visitation of our little blue planet. Thank you for watching. Utah Basin is no stranger to the supernatural, paranormal, or extraterrestrial. In fact, the area is so familiar with the unexplainable that it led to a joint investigation between the privately owned company Bigelow Aerospace and the United States government's military, the Department of Defense. Over a period of about 20 years, a joint investigation was made to uncover the cause of the paranormal, supernatural, and extraterrestrial sightings made across the Utah Basin and determine whether or not the cause was a threat to national security. This led to the purchasing of a piece of land that would later be referred to as the Skinwalker Ranch, due to the region's massive amount of sightings of a terrifyingly humanoid monster known as the Skinwalker. In his book titled The Hunt for Skinwalker Ranch, co-author George Knapp discusses how the ranch, previously owned by a family known as the Gorman family, appeared to be a focal point of the unexplainable activity, featuring anything from sightings of little grey aliens, Bigfoot, skinwalkers, direwolves, unidentified flying objects, and poltergeist activity. Interestingly enough, over the 20 years of investigation, a surprising amount of evidence came forward that would help to explain the previously believed paranormal causes into something far more evident of advanced technologies. As is common with alien abduction stories, many abductees will often claim that evidence of an abduction having taken place is experiencing a dramatic sudden loss of time. A number of witnesses residing within the Utah Basin have claimed to have suddenly been walking through their house at night only to find themselves staring at the clock and noticing huge chunks of time missing from their memory, with others claiming that while they had been driving, they found themselves parked at the side of the road, realizing that they must have been asleep for several hours. What kind of advanced technology, if any, could cause such sudden lapses in time and awareness? During the NIDS's investigation, researchers gathered the witness testimony of the Gorman family, the family that used to reside at the Skinwalker Ranch, and the troubles they faced with the ongoing paranormal and supernatural activity they witnessed. In one such story, the Gormans talked about how their missing cattle had been a devastating blow to their finances and how their last ability to make a profit rested with 4 2,000-pound bulls in an iron-gated pen resting a few hundred yards from their home. Almost as if listening in on the conversation, when the couple reached the bull pens, they noticed that all 4 bulls were missing from their locked pens with no evidence of destruction. After contacting the researchers, The bulls were found crammed into a locked and closed trailer with no way of entering or exiting, with all 4 of the bulls standing side by side in a perfectly docile mood, seemingly stuck in a hypnotic trance. When the researchers entered the trailer in an attempt to coax the bulls back into the bullpen, almost as if a sudden switch had been flipped, the bulls snapped out of their hypnotic trance and began kicking and breaking the trailer apart in a terrible fit of rage. The researchers were not only unable to explain how the bulls entered inside the trailer, they were unable to explain the strange display of sudden behavior shifts in the bulls that allowed them to have been moved into the trailer in a docile state before the arrival of the team. Despite this lack of explanation from the researchers, however, Unexplained Mysteries proposes a theory as to the cause of the bulls' sudden behavioral shift. Back in 1964, the neurological researcher Jose Manuel Rodriguez Delgado, later referred to as the pioneer of electrical brain stimulation, conducted a dramatically demonstrated research test that could prove the viability and theory that electrical brain stimulation, when applied in controlled manners, could not only manipulate an organism's muscle movements and contractions, but could more than influence the creature's entire behavior as well. Known as the stymorceiver, Delgado invented a small device that could be implanted into the brain of an animal and used to give remote-controlled electrical stimulation to specific parts of the brain for controlled behavior. After conducting brain surgery to impact his electrode into the skull of a Spanish bull, Lucero of Cordoba, Spain, Delgado got into the bullfighting ring with the creature surrounded by a crowd of onlookers and waited for the bull to charge him. When it did, Delgado activated his remote-controlled electrode only a few meters from being hit by the bull, which instantly caused the raging bull to come to an immediate halt. Almost in an exact instant, the bull seemed to lose all of its aggression and violence and laid down in a calm and relaxed demeanor. Just like the docile behavior of the caged bulls on the Skinwalker Ranch, Delgado's bull seemed to become completely oblivious to the presence of Delgado and went into a hypnotic, dull state. Could electrical brain stimulation have been the cause for the Skinwalker Ranch bulls suddenly becoming docile and being led into a tight and compacted trailer? Oddly enough, the NIDS's research group found that the iron gate that fenced the bulls in were suddenly completely magnetized around the area. The magnetization of iron was most likely caused from a powerful electromagnetic field in the region of unknown origin. This heavily implies, however, that only moments before the bull's strange personality shift, there was a powerful electromagnetic field that suddenly arose and caused the bulls to undergo a specified and controlled behavior. Rather than the paranormal ability of a poltergeist, a conscious intelligence with advanced technologies capable of creating strong electromagnetic fields could have used such technology to apply specific electrical brain stimulation and lead to the docile hypnosis and control of the Skinwalker bulls, just like Delgado's experiments demonstrated more than 60 years ago. Could it be that when individuals experience a sudden loss of time and undergo hypnotic trances shortly before and after an alien abduction event, they could be the victim of an impossible-to-explain electrical brain stimulation caused via a powerful but direct electromagnetic weapon used by otherworldly beings? Interestingly enough, another recorded story from the Skinwalker Ranch researchers could prove to be a profound piece of supporting evidence for this claim. One of the strangest pieces of supernatural encounters from the Gorman family was that of the instantaneous cattle mutilation that took place no more than about 20 feet away from them as they fed their livestock. According to the Gorman family, their cattle had been in a small field together with a baby calf resting beside its mother as the cows were being fed. Suddenly, the family claimed that the mother cow began bellowing sadly as it ran in circles with a partial limp that seemed to be a form of temporary paralysis. When the family walked to the cow to see what was wrong, they noticed that the calf had been cut open and picked completely clean with a precision that was more akin to surgical tools. In a few seconds, it took them to walk from the calf down the field 20 feet and then back again. When the researchers investigated the mutilation, they found that the hide of the calf was too thick to have been cut by a knife and would have required surgical tools and a large amount of time to have performed the procedure, leaving behind nothing but an untouched head and a skeleton picked completely clean. Although the family claims that next to no time had passed, could the entire area have been under the influence of an electromagnetic field that caused a docile hypnosis and temporary amnesia that led the inhabitants into believing no time had passed while an unknown entity conducted a mutilation experiment in the field unseen? The partial paralysis of the calf's mother seems to support that theory overwhelmingly. There are few known scientific causes of temporary paralysis in individuals, but one of the most well-known causes is that of partial damage to an animal's nervous system or misfiring signals from the brain to the nervous system. Similar to how REM sleep will temporarily cause the body to undergo paralysis to prevent an individual from kicking out in their sleep, could the electromagnetic fields caused by some unknown entity have caused an adverse effect on the mother cow's nervous system that caused it to temporarily enter into a partial limb paralysis when exposed to its radiating field? Countless accounts of extraterrestrial encounters in the past have often remarked that close encounters with alien craft have often led to neurological problems. Could this be evidence of a form of neurological control or influence? Often referred to as poltergeist interference, there seems to be a tremendous amount of evidence of time loss, hypnotically induced trance states, sudden amnesia, and controlled electromagnetic fields capable of manipulating an organism's behavior instantaneously. Rather than a paranormal or supernatural cause, the evidence points to a clear use of advanced technologies that can not only control their victims, but can allow the unknown entities to remain unseen while conducting real-time experiments in front of their victims without them knowing it. But what do you all think of these yet-to-be-explained stories surrounding the witness accounts of the encounters on the Skinwalker Ranch and the theory of electromagnetic psychological interference? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. And once again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.